Hi, my name is Tomeka LaDios Muhammad. I go by LaDios Muhammad, and I'm here to share my story with you because I want you to know that no matter what happens, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. What happened is I came home one night. My ex-husband started an argument, and then he slit my throat 5 times that night, which almost cost my life. I know it's 2003. It was on a Thursday. It might have been March 17th, I think.
Okay.
No, it was about a week later after my birthday. I do know that for sure. Well, that was the week of the 2003 blizzard. So I remember I was on my way home. I had just got into a little argument with my ex-husband. Let's see. I pulled in, and he was pacing back and forth in front of the driveway, in front of the garage. He was pacing back and forth. And so when I got out the car, he looks at me, he goes, "You broke us. You ruined everything. You ruined everything. Everything." And he was just pacing back and forth. And I said, "It's cold out here. I'm tired. Let's go inside and talk about this. And I really don't even have to talk to you about this because we're not together anymore." And he just kept saying, I broke us. It was my fault that I ruined the family. I messed up the family. It's my fault. It's my fault. And he was behind me when I opened the door. And something I didn't realize was, at that time, every time I ran into the house or came into the house, the children came in and they ran to me and like, "Mom, Mom." But this particular night, nobody came downstairs, and I was so focused on just him in the back of my ear, just kept yelling, "It's your fault. You broke everything." And so finally, I got so frustrated with him, I turned around and I said, "You know what? You could just leave. I tried to be civil with you, but just leave." And I went in to put my purse on the table, and I seen broken glass. And I was like, "What did you do? What did you do?" And he was like, "What did you do? Look what you did to me. Look what you did to me." And I'm like, what? And then a panic came upon me. And I ran upstairs to my room. Still, I didn't connect that my children were not coming anywhere. And I ran upstairs to my room, and it was destroyed. My mattress was torn over. It was sliced up. There's a huge hole in the wall. My TV, VCRs, DVDs were all busted up. Clothes were shredded, cut. And I sat on the bed spring and I just said, "Why did you do this? Why did you do this to me? Why?" He goes, "I could replace this. I could replace this." And I was like, "You can't keep coming here, tearing up everything and thinking you're just going to replace it." And I said, "No, not tonight. You're going to go to jail for this." And I just started walking out down the stairs, and he was behind me, like right on my heels, really behind me, and he said, "Well, I'm going to make it worth something if I'm going to jail tonight." And I went into the living room where there's a wall jack, and I realized the phone was torn off the wall. He torn the phone off the wall, and I couldn't find the cordless phone, and I still realized that my children hadn't come down. Now I'm starting to panic because I'm going into the room and he's so right behind me because I'm trying to find a phone. I can't get to my cell phone at the time, and then I ended up in the kitchen in a corner. kitchen was like this, and we were in a corner. So right here was the sink, and behind me was the stove, and I was in the corner. And now I realize my children have not come. Now I'm panicking, like, oh my God, did he do something to the children? And so I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, and I'm calling for my children to come downstairs. And as I'm screaming for them to come downstairs, he was telling them not to come downstairs. And I didn't realize he had grabbed the first knife. And the first knife was this huge carving knife. And I grabbed it really quick and I threw it across the floor. And then I started really screaming for my children to come. So I threw the first knife. And I'm screaming at the top of my lungs now because I'm telling them to come downstairs and he's telling them not to come down the stairs. I had somehow tried to shift so I could jump over the kitchen sink and run somewhere away from him, but he had me cornered, and so now I'm facing forward into the corner and he's behind me. And I said, please come downstairs, and they came downstairs, and I said, run across the street and have Miss B call 911. Your dad is about to hurt your mom. My daughter was crying. They didn't have any shoes or coats on or anything. And she's like, no, I want to stay. And I was like, no, go. Go tell them to call 911, please. And so she was crying, and she finally ran out the door. And he goes, yeah, go. He goes, because I don't want you to see what I'm about to do to your mom. So I didn't see him get the next knife. I didn't see it. He got a short little paring knife. And all I seen is the knife coming at my throat. My hair was really long. He had wrapped his hand around my hair and pulled my neck back. And I had my hand up, and I was trying to hold the knife from cutting my throat. And he was slowly cutting off my thumb finger. And then the pain from him cutting my thumb was just too enormous, so I let it go. And I just remembered it. I just remembered it going in. And he slit. I could feel it. I could hear it. And then he did it a couple more times. He just did a stabbing. And then instantly something told me to just grab my neck to hold the pressure. And I had this intense calmness come down on me. I don't know where it came from, but I just held my neck and I said, oh my God, baby, I cannot believe you really wanted to kill me. And I said it as calm as I could say it. And I just remember all this blood is just gushing on my hands. And then he was behind me walking back and forth. And he goes, oh my God, I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry, baby. Because I'm killing you. Because now I need to kill myself. And he tried to do something with the knife to his neck. And I'm looking at him, and I'm still holding my neck, and he goes, no, I need to finish the job. And he came and he stabbed some more. And then as he started pacing back and forth again, and he's crying, I go to the sliding door, the patio sliding door, and I'm still holding on with one hand, and I had a security lock at the bottom, so I couldn't unlock the security lock with one hand, so I couldn't get it. And I'm like, I need you to let me out. I need you to let me out or I'm going to die. And he just kept pacing back and forth, and he goes, nope, I gotta finish the job. And he came and did it again. And finally, I felt at that point, I just felt like, okay, this is what you want. You want me to die, so I'm gonna die. I'm going to make you happy, and I'm going to sit on this floor. And I went back into the kitchen. I sat in Indian style, and I started praying and saying, thank you, God, for my life, and all I ask is you to take care of my children. And I was praying out loud, and I was just thanking God for my life, for everything that I had, and I just was ready to go, because I just didn't want to sit there and suffer. But I was more concerned about my children, like, who's going to take care of my kids? And so finally, I don't know what happened. Something, some type of miracle, something snapped in the midst of my prayer, something. And he says, okay, baby, I'm going to let you out. And he picked me up off the floor. And he carried me to the door. And we walked out the door. He carried me to the door. The neighbor was out shoveling her snow, and he said to her, and I said, ayúdame, por favor, ayúdame. And she says, what? He said, call 911, I just tried to kill my wife. He goes, I'm a bad man, I just tried to kill my wife. So I walked across the street, and my neighbor, she answered the door, and she screams, and I'm like, I'm still calm. I don't know how come I'm calm. I just know I am calm. And she starts screaming, and I said, I need you, Brenda, to be calm. I need you to be calm right now. And I see my children coming down the stairs, and I said, please, don't let them see me like this. Get them up the stairs before I come back through this door. And so she told him to go back upstairs. And so I went into her kitchen, because I was so worried about bleeding on her carpet. I know it was ridiculous, but I really was. She wasn't. And I said, I'm sorry about your carpet. She says, I don't care about that. I said, call 911. She said, I already did. I said, call them again and tell them that I've been stabbed so they can expedite the call. And they can get here quicker, because you got to remember there was about 5 feet of snow. It was the blizzard. She explained that the ambulance were coming. And at that point, I said, okay, I'm tired now. I need to lay down. She said, please don't go to sleep. You have to stay up. I said, I'm just exhausted right now. And I was literally closing my eyes, and the paramedics got there. And they were like, Miss Muhammad, I need you to stay awake. I need you. I was like, I am so tired. I'm just tired. And they got me in, and I was like, please don't let my children see me. I didn't want them to see me like that. I just remember coming in, and there's lights, these lights everywhere, and all these people, and I went out. And when I woke up, it was probably 5 days later. It was horrendous. I went from a size 4 or 5 to a size 0. I had to get a blood transfusion. I lost so much blood. I could not hardly breathe. I could barely walk. For the first 2 weeks out of the hospital, my daughter had to bathe me. My mom had to bathe me because I couldn't lift my arms. I had to have 2 surgeries on both hands. There was some nerve damage on my second hand, and they had to reconnect the tendons on my right hand from the cut.
And your hands were damaged from defending yourself from the knife.
Right. This one, it was cut as I was trying to push the knife away. This one, as I was holding it, my neck, and the stabs were going through, there was some nerve damage, so they had to go and repair nerve damage. It's still tingly on this one, and this one I almost have no feeling in the thumb. It took me over a year to get my body weight back, and at the time of the injury, the doctor said he was 1/4 of an inch from my jugular vein, and I would have died. He punctured my vocal cords, so my range of voice has been affected, but at the time, the doctor told me I was never going to speak again, and my response to him was, "You don't have the last say." And after I was able to walk, I went to City Park every day, and I walked a little bit every day, just so I can get back and walk just up a block every day, just to get my strength back. But recovery, I could say, to get back to my weight was a year. To get my voice back was about 3 to 5 years. When I woke up in the hospital, like I said, it was about 5 days later that I was cognizant. And the interesting thing enough, the first person who was there that I recognized, because I had been highly sedated, was my hairstylist. She was doing my hair. It had become so matted with blood, they were wanting to chop it off. And she knew how much I wanted to, keep my hair at that time, vanity, such things. She was moisturizing my hair and getting the blood out. And I looked and I just remember thinking, what a wonderful person who knows how much I took pride in my hair, and she came and she knew exactly what to do, and I looked up and I just remember saying, "Frida," and I had tears in my eyes, and she's like, "Nope, no tears." The next person who came in was my cousin, who I grew up with, and then the third person was a very good close friend of mine. I call him Soul, and he brought in someone and he had them sing a custom song. They did something on the guitar, and I hadn't seen myself yet. So, I was in intensive care and they moved me out, I think the next day out of intensive care. And I still hadn't seen myself. And then I had a good friend of mine who came to visit, and this was the first time I seen myself in the mirror. And I just thought I was going to die. I looked like a monster. I had staples in my neck. My neck was... I just didn't recognize who I was. And I just remember looking at him and saying, "I'm so ugly. I'm ugly, I'm ugly." And it was just an emotional thing for me because I didn't know what was going to happen, and I couldn't talk on top of that. It was like I talked like someone who has a severely bad sore throat who could barely get words out. And he's like, "No, you're beautiful." And I was like, "No, he destroyed me." And so the traumatic effect is I'm a very sociable person, but I couldn't even look at a movie that had any type of violence. If I went to the store and even teenagers started getting loud, I just felt panic. I didn't like crowds. I just felt fear. But I felt I couldn't hold a knife for a long time. I could not look at a knife. My children would have to put the knives away. I would just panic if I had seen a knife. Anything like a paring knife. Big knives I can handle, little knives. Anything that resembled. It just traumatized me. It was overwhelming for me. And then relationships were just down the tube for a long time. I thought everybody was the enemy. But the most traumatic thing is, this is what I struggle with, is because now my children didn't have a father, because he went away, of course. And yes, people came and they cared for you. They did. And I cannot thank everybody enough, and you know who you are. They came and they cleaned my house. My job raised money. They gave me flowers. They were so kind to me. They were so kind to me, and they left. And my job paid for my salary for 6 months full. But at the end of the day, the most emotional thing was people expect that you just jump back in the game and you're okay. And I never had enough time to really heal for myself, because I had to be strong for my children now. I had to go back to work. I had to be the breadwinner now. And I just didn't have time for myself. I had to raise 2 children at 7 and 9, and I don't even know where I went from there. And if someone found out or asked about, you know, the scars on my neck, and oh, you're so strong is what they would say. You're strong, you're a strong woman, but I wasn't. I was broken inside. I was absolutely shattered, because all they seen was the outside. They didn't see, you know, and I did go to counseling. I went to counseling for 2 to 3 years after that. But yeah, I just didn't have anybody to take care of me. Like, I needed someone to emotionally take care of me. Because I now had to be something on this outside, to the point, interesting enough, to the point, I had a bad heartbreak a year ago, and my son did not know how to respond to me, because he says, "Mom, I'm so used to you being strong." And I said, "I'm human, and I cry, and I'm a girl, and I'm feminine, and let me just do this, and let me cry." And he gave me a hug, and he's like, "I just never seen you like that." And people think I'm this super confident, jovial person, and I'm just strong, and I'm very vulnerable, and I'm very sensitive. And that's what this situation has affected me over the years, because I haven't allowed someone, well, no one's allowed me to be who I am, this soft, gentle person. They just see the outside, and then it freaks them out when they see something different. They don't even know how, or they can't even get past, because they think I'm just confident, I'm a superwoman, and I'm just not. I've been made to be that way, but I just want to let my guard down and be soft and sweet. That's the effect it's taken over the years, but now it's time to be vulnerable, and that's why I'm telling this story. It's okay, you know. It's not about just telling the story. It's about growing into who you are, and that what happens to you doesn't define who you are. And people try to define me with what happened, and that's not what I want. I want them to know that I'm a person, and this happened, but that's it. It happened, and because of that's happened, I've become a better person. Not filled with anger, bitter. In fact, like I said, I had a relationship, I fell in love. It may have not been the right person, but I fell in love, and I'm open to love. And that's important. And a lot of times when women are victims of domestic violence, the problem is you continue to replay that out and attract the same type of person. And that's where the healing starts, from the inside, so you don't have to think that you're not worthy of love. I feel like I'm healed. I also feel like that's something that'll always be a part of me. You'll never get over it. I don't have too many flashbacks. However, when I do see a movie and I see some type of where there's a domestic violence, or a man's beating a woman or something, it raises emotions on me. I feel like I've healed, but I feel like there's always going to be something there. And I don't think it's not supposed to be there. It's always there to remind me of where I'll never be again. Flashbacks? No. But yes, it does raise emotions when I see violence in domestic relationships, or I hear about it. Not emotional where I collapse or anything, just wow, you know, it just reminds me. It also helps me in any future relationships. If I see those red flags, if I see something going on, I know how to read the signs early, so I don't make the same mistake again. What I would say is the last thing you want to do, I know this is a little contradictory, is just to up and leave. That's the most dangerous thing you can do. If someone's violent, that's going to trigger them to be to the point they want to kill you. So I would say at this time, first seek some help, get an action plan, get a support system, and tell everybody everything. Because we have a tendency to hide behind everything because we're trying to protect that person, so we don't say anything. But tell them everything. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your coworkers about this person. Because one of the things about someone who's domestic violence, and this could be male or female, is at the end of the day they're a coward. They're going to be nice to you in front of the camera, but behind the scenes, that's when they do all the mess. And that's why a lot of women, you don't see bruises or, you know, on their face. That's usually here. You know, it's usually where they can hide it. But I would say tell everyone, get an action plan, a strong support system, and ease your way out. Do not just up and leave. That will trigger that person. I would like to say, and I touched on this earlier, a lot of times going through something as traumatic as I've experienced or anything, you need to take time to heal. Something trauma doesn't happen overnight. And it doesn't go away overnight. It's horrible. You want to make sure you work on yourself. Because a lot of times, you may think, oh, a couple of years gone by, it's over. But we tend to get back in this cycle again and attract the same person and do the same thing. And then you're wondering what happened. So you really want to take the time to heal and go from the inside out and not let that define you. And don't blame yourself for whatever happened. Yes, we have a responsibility for the role we play in it, but don't blame yourself. Because once you realize who you are and you value who you are, then you start to see everything in perspective. That was their problem, that's not your problem. You know? And I think we tend to blame ourselves and not feel worthy and not feel like we have any value, and that's why we go back into these same relationships and we settle. But when you get to the point where you're like thinking, okay, this happened, it doesn't define me, I'm going to take care of me, and then just go back and find out why learn from it. Why did you get there? How did you get there? Don't beat yourself up because you got there. Just find out how you got there, what was the reason, what was the lesson, so you can make better choices. Because everyone deserves love. And love is unconditional, and love does not hurt. My children's father, unfortunately, he got 23 years for assault with a weapon and 73 for attempted murder. He has been in there since 2003. I'm not angry with him. I'm not bitter. In fact, my daughter goes see him at least 2 to 3 times a week with her grandfather, his father, and they talk. I'm not bitter. I'm not angry, and I understand, and I've taught my children this whole time, he's not a bad person. He just made a bad choice. And I also teach them every choice that you make, it doesn't just affect you, because he affected a community.
Do you ever talk with him? Do you communicate with him?
In the beginning, I did communicate with him. I did let him call, collect, and speak with the children. And I think that probably wasn't the most healthiest choice, so I ended up telling him not to call and sending all letters to his father's house, because we ended up getting in an argument. Recently, I did ask my daughter to ask him, can I write him a letter? I haven't written it yet. And I actually want to let him know that he's not a bad person, and I don't think that way of him. And I hope, and I prayed for his safety the whole time he was in there. I never imagined, my children growing up without their father. Not to say that I am responsible for what he did, because I'm not. He made that choice. But there was other things I wanted to speak with him as regarding how good of a father he was and a husband. And I needed to express that, and he said it was okay. I haven't written the letter yet, but I still have love for him as a person. I still have love for him as a wonderful father, and he was a great husband. He just made the wrong choice, and we have to be responsible for our actions and consequences that come along with it. And that's it. And I don't allow anyone, no one, not friends, not family, anyone, to say a thing about him that's bad, because I just don't believe they have that right. Tyra and Siraj, those are my children. And this happened when they were 9 and 7, and now they're 20 and 17. I think it was very traumatic. With Siraj, he plays a lot of guilt. He feels guilty because he feels like he may have been responsible. With Tyra, I think she has a lot of anger, and she hasn't truly addressed it with her father because she loves him, and yet she's angry at the same time. So over the years, I'm grateful my children are very healthy and they're very successful. I just think there's some pain that they haven't truly dealt with. I just wonder if it's going to affect them relationship-wise in the long run. Will they trust anybody, to spend the rest of their life with? Or are they going to think, oh, I'm not going to get attached to someone? I definitely feel that with my daughter. And with my son, I feel like there may be something where he feels very guilty about what happened, as if it was his fault, and it wasn't. How did I rise from all of this? I have to honestly say I had the best support system in the world. I mean, I had friends, and I mean friends who've been my friends for a long time, friends and family who have stood by my side. And I definitely, if it weren't for my faith base of just having my strong faith in God, that I believe that there was a reason he wanted me to be here. It wasn't time for me to go. I didn't know it then, and I hope this is a part of it, because this was 10 years ago, and I said, I don't know what you want me to do with this, but you got me here for a reason, and I'm here. So I just kept thinking to myself, there was a reason this happened. It wasn't just haphazardly. It was a reason, and I just kept going forward. I just started taking care of myself. I remained around positive people, and I just got back on the grind, and it still was hard, but that's how I did. My support system is and was very strong. Do you know which ones are which?
No, but can you tell us?
Mm-hmm.
Can you go like this?
Yes. Here is where he initially slit my throat. That was the first cut. Right here is the second. There's some right here. And there's one in the back. And I think there's one around this area. This one and this one is the surgical scars. If you were to get real close, you could see where the staples, the swelling had been so big. It had to be stapled. The skin had to be stapled back together. They stapled it here and then right here.
Tell me about Tomeka LaDios Muhammad today, in the present. How is her life? How is she feeling?
Tomeka LaDios Muhammad in the present is fabulous. I live life to the fullest. When they say enjoy life, I'm traveling, I spend time with my friends, I'm healthy, my children are off to college, I'm open to love, and I'm excited about it. I am excited. I met some great people, some great men, potentials, we'll see. I'm working on a new project for a new, well, I won't speak much about it, but let's just say you'll be seeing me in the future. And this, I'm hoping and praying, this will help someone to let them know that life, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and you can be happy no matter what obstacles. So that is what's going on with Tomeka LaDios Muhammad.